My top 5 weirdest sheep. Let's get into it. Once again, I am not a sheep professional, I'm just a sheep enthusiast, and in this case, we mean weird in the good way, okay? Weird in the way that I'm weird, in the way that all spinsters in general are a little odd. This is weird sheep in the most endearing way possible. First up, one of my favorites, and definitely a testament to just how adaptable sheep can be, the North Ronaldsay sheep. These sheep exist solely on this tiny Scottish island and survive almost exclusively on seaweed. I actually have this little keychain that I made on my backpack. It's a little locket, and when you open it up, it's a little picture of the North Ronaldsay sheep and a little bit of North Ronaldsay sheep yarn that I spun a while back. Next up is the Soay sheep. I love the Soay sheep for a few different reasons. So first, they're super small. They are super small. I find that very, very endearing. They're very cute. What makes them so weird is that their history is ancient, damn near Neolithic. I mean, these guys have been around for a super long time, and they show it. They're very hardy. They're very adapted to the environment. And one of the cool things about them is that they actually still rue. So back before we domesticated sheep, sheep used to shed their wool. They didn't need to be sheared. And some sheep still do that. The Soay do it pretty consistently. A lot of different sheep breeds, they'll sometimes like partially rue, but Soay are still adapted to rue pretty thoroughly, which I just think is such a cool thing. You can pluck the wool off of them in the spring and summer. Next up, the Manx Lockton. Another super isolated sheep. They're only located on the Isle of Man. These sheep, I've gotten to work with their fiber before, specifically their woolly fiber, because they can produce both woolly and hairy type fiber, which is definitely going to be a lot coarser. Their woolly fiber, extremely fine. Definitely something I would classify as a fine wool, super bouncy. Loved the like classic brown color that a lot of Manx Lockton are. And if you love 4-horned sheep, Manx Lockton can actually have up to 6 horns, which I think is super cool. Next up, the weirdo that tugs at my heartstrings, the Santa Cruz Island sheep. I absolutely adore this sheep. I was so lucky to be able to spin even a small sample of Santa Cruz Island wool, and it is by far one of the softest wools I've ever put hands on. It's bouncy. It would be perfect for socks or really anything. Getting your hands on a whole fleece is difficult because these are critically endangered. The reason is because these sheep used to live on Santa Cruz Island. Island was eventually taken over by like government park authorities who more saw the sheep as a pest more than anything, and essentially almost entirely wiped them out as a species, as a breed, which is devastating. There are still a few small flocks, however, because these sheep tend to rue or partially rue, especially because the genetic lines are just really narrow.